regular meeting for Thursday, March 12th, 2026. We are starting at 4 o'clock. We're called to order. Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. How do they do that? I think I'm in school. Okay, roll call of directors. Director Schoenberg.
Here.
Director Garcia is absent. Director Gibson.
Here.
Director Kelling.
Here.
And Director Nyman is here. 4-0-1 absent. We have a quorum. Okay. Number 2, discussion vote, adjust agenda if necessary.
Do we need closed session? I think we. I'd like
I
to
think
know
we- I think
what
we-
happened.
Yeah, can we do the closed session, Dee, just so we can, talk about next, what's going on?
Yeah, something happened.
Yes,
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
can we also move 17, up, since we have a member of the public that's here to address them?
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we move 17 to, after item 8. Before financial business.
Thank you.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, the motion has been made by Director Schoenberg, seconded by Director Kelling. Roll call of directors. Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Director Garcia is absent. Director Gibson.
Aye.
Director Kelling.
Aye.
Director Nyman's an aye. That's 4-0-1 absent. Motion carried. Okay. Okay. Anything else?
Not that I know of.
Okay, so number 3, public comments, items not listed on the agenda. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes. Is there anybody from the public that wants to ask any questions?
I think there's a couple people on the other phone.
Okay, not hearing any. We'll go on to number 4, report of officers. The president is absent. I'm filling in tonight. I'm the vice president. I have nothing to report. Secretary,
I signed some minutes.
okay. Treasurer,
Yeah, I made 5 transfers. I can go over those when we get to the financial items.
okay.
And, I believe that's it. And
Okay.
we did our,
JPI representative,
stuff.
Nothing.
okay. Number 5, board member initiatives. Not hearing any. 6, managers report.
Yeah, the only thing I got is, we got that crazy quote for or cameras at our site. A guy who's a local camera guy, he heard about that and he reached out to me. He's gonna come and meet me, Monday. See if he can come up with a much cheaper alternative to what our issues are.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Was that quote was from our current security place company or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, Johnny? That's
Nope.
it?
Yeah.
Okay. 6A, administrative assistance report.
No, I think it's all agenda item.
Okay, great. 7, standing committee report for accounts payable committee.
We met, we went through invoices, hopefully somebody signed the 3 check things.
Yeah, I gave them to.
And, we asked Deborah to cut checks and everything's under financial.
Okay. State update meeting committee, we meet
Next week.
next week. So, 8, ad hoc committee reports, planning project committee.
We haven't met,
Okay.
well, other than going down to the courthouse. but-
Right. Easement and deeds committee,
We've not met.
okay, rate study committee, we're pretty much done, so that's probably,
But that's under an item.
but that's under an item, and I guess we'll leave that ad hoc together until we finish the, complete rate study, I assume.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Bond book committee,
Nothing,
okay. Employee handbook committee,
nothing. I see we got it back, but there's an agenda item, so we'll talk about it there.
okay. 5-year budget committee,
Haven't met
we
yet.
haven't met, we'll have to look, Lisa, and see when we can get together. Cause we've been just. Too much, okay. Parcel B project committee, we have not met.
You
At
guys
this
didn't
point.
meet?
We didn't meet between the last meeting and now, no, did not. We've met, we've been getting, emails, but
Oh, but maybe, that's on agenda?
It's on the agenda
Okay.
too.
It's on the agenda.
They'll meet
I'd like
next
to
week.
kind of know where we're standing.
oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
No, they're gonna meet
Yeah,
next week.
we're supposed to well, we'll talk about it on the
Okay.
agenda.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll move on to
Yeah.
number 17, discussion vote on, using district equipment for a downtown project.
So Elke's gonna pass out the flyers for what we're doing. Basically, the same thing that we did last time when you guys approved me to use equipment to clean up the flower beds. And they're gonna, install some drip lines for sprinkler lines. So I just wanted to get the okay to use the equipment. I'll probably only need the mini X, maybe
Elkie, could I get one?
Yes, yes.
maybe the dump truck for one trip or the loader, but I don't know what I'm gonna need, but it should cost the district minimal amounts of money for doing it.
I mean, it's just really.
Well, and,
Yeah, and I'm gonna donate my time. We'll do it on a day off.
and I think it's a nicety since we were part of that in the first place, so.
Yeah,
May I express why we need that equipment?
Sure, go ahead.
Because there are, big, rosemary bushes and butterfly bushes that have to be taken out so you can put in a whole new line. And, for us to do it with a shovel is impossible, so we really appreciate it. And my hope is that we can just dig them out, put them in a bag or something, and then put them back. Because they're pretty and they're big, you know, but, the neighbors, mountain neighbors, are buying all the plants. We already bought some. And we will organize the planting of the plants in cooperation with the Chamber of Commerce and the Farmers for Future America from the high school students. We already got dates for them. They will be helping us in April. So, we need to have, those plants, the old plants removed, hopefully by the end of March. So that then they can put in a line and then we can plant.
yeah, for one of those 2 days, I might be able to get my son's, it's like Boy Scouts. Might be able to get his troop to help out a little bit too. They do community service every year. So I'll try to do that too. They're pretty young, so except for 3 of them, so they can't help a lot, but they can help out.
Okay.
You know, there are always, some of the bushes we can leave, but we have to trim them
Yeah.
back.
Cool.
Director Schoenberg?
I'm all for helping this. The whole reason we did this in the first place, or we're a part of this, was to help the community. And, you know, I don't see why, I mean, basically, we're a public entity, and I think that this is stuff that benefits the community, not anyone here or, you know, any specific person or anything, so I don't see why we wouldn't want to help out.
Okay, well, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we, allow Johnny to, use the towns, because it's the town's equipment, Fraser Park Public Utilities equipment, to help the community streetscape project do the, beautification and the things that they're requiring.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, the motion has been made by Director Schoenberg, seconded by Director Kelling. Roll call the directors, Director Schoenberg, is there any discussion? Okay, roll call the directors.
I'm an aye.
Director Garcia is absent. Director Gibson?
Aye.
Okay, Director Kelly
Aye.
and Director Nyman's an aye, so it's 4-0-1 absent, motion carries.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you. We appreciate all your hard work, Elfie.
Thank you,
You do great for the community.
thank you for being a part of that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate all you do in the
And I
community.
appreciate that I could get on early because I also have to go to the Chamber of Commerce meeting.
Okay. All right,
You have a great night.
you have a good night.
And if you ever have a meeting where something sort of really vital is going on, let me know, because I can write about it for the paper. We haven't covered the water board in a while.
Cool.
I just
Okay.
realized that.
All right, thank you, Elfie.
Thank you.
Okay, financial business, number 9, discussion vote on accounts payable and financial information.
That's you, Deborah.
Okay. All right. So we'll start with disbursements out of the planning account. We issued 4 checks for a total of $16,950.45. There were 2 extraordinary disbursements, one payable to D. Jaspar for $7,858.25, and the second one payable to D. Jaspar for $8,170. And then out of the revenue operating account, we prepared 32 checks for a total of $48,426.26. The extraordinary disbursements include a JPIA disbursement for $13,009.33. Edison for $7,284.61. Young Woolridge, $4,314.69. And the primary Visa for $8,389.32.
What did we, buy on the Visa, 8,000?
Have to look at the thing.
I didn't get a chance to look at that. Let me look at that.
And also, Deborah, they did cash the 1 check, correct? That was, that we wrote to cover the MIA check, so we are paid up on that account, which is
The gas.
the gas account, but we still have a check that we need to see what happens with it.
Either that, we're gonna have to vote to spend the $35 to,
Just, yeah, stop it.
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, so the gas account is paid up to date, and we do have 1 check still missing in action. If it is cashed, I will follow up, find out, see if it's applied to the gas account or if something else is going on. But it's being watched.
And since we're on financials, I'm gonna go ahead and give the transfer, since I know there's some numbers that want to hear that. So we did
Okay, go ahead.
our planning to the revenue account of $400. That was to reimburse for board fees from claim 54. Planning to the revenue account for $705.11. That was staff recovery from claim 54. Planning to the capital reserve, $4,381.50 to cover a Tom Dodson and Associates that we had paid out of the capital improvement. Planning to revenue operating of $830, also to cover a Tom Dodson Associates invoice that we had prepaid. And then 1 customer assistant grant to the revenue operating of $214.67 for a customer service to help them. And that's the transfers we made. And then there's the normal automatic transfer. So there was a normal transfer that happened, which was the out of the payment fund, $13,485.63, actually to the payment fund of the USDA, sorry, dyslexic, $13,485.63. That's the bank up money in the payment fund for the USDA to cover our bond amounts. So that, was transferred already, and then we've got a couple upcoming, but they haven't happened yet.
And what saw, we bought a saw, huh?
We bought a saw to cut in the
Asphalt
asphalt,
cutting saw.
Okay.
so that was pretty pricey, $2,000.
It was a closeout, item from US Saws and, it was a lot cheaper, so I bought it.
Okay.
We've never had one.
Oh, and you replaced the windows on
The truck.
the
Yeah.
trucks. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right, if there is,
And Terry and I looked at it, we didn't really find anything else other than, I guess we didn't really find anything other than what we already brought up.
Right.
so,
I
I
will
wouldn't
move that we pay our bills.
I will second it.
okay, we have a motion to pay our bills, made by Director Kelly, seconded by Director Gibson. Is there any discussion, questions? Hearing none, roll call of directors, Director Schoenberg, Director Garcia is absent, Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
and Director Nyman's an aye. That's 4-0-1 absent, motion carried. All right, and do we need, we need
Deborah for the
Deborah for the
audit?
next
Yeah.
one, yeah.
Probably.
Okay, so we can move on to, number 10, discussion vote on 2025 fiscal year audit.
So I want to reiterate on behalf of the auditors. So they're prepared to present the audit at the next meeting is what we have tentatively scheduled. When they present the audit, that's not the time to question them about the audit. You have any questions or any concerns or any corrections, contact them before the meeting. Do not do it at next week's meeting or 2 weeks meeting.
Right, so we're not gonna be voting on this evening.
No, that's homework.
Okay,
Oh, you leave us homework.
you're gonna do it in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
So we're gonna do it at the state meeting instead of a regular?
Yeah, that's when the auditors were available.
Okay.
Okay, so,
And what we did do with the auditors is I gave them, we've already said that before, but I gave them a copy of the bond book information so that they have it, from when we met as the bond committee. And we also gave them our whole database in progress, so they have it. It's still not complete, but they have everything that we have done so far, and they were very happy about that.
okay,
Now I think,
Okay.
since there's no. Now Deborah can, have a great evening, Deborah.
Thank you, Deborah.
Thank
Unless you have anything to say about the audit.
I just wanted to say that I completed the journal entries and I completed the, review of the trial balances from BHK, comparing them to QuickBooks. I have a few questions that I will send off to Scott on Tuesday when I'm back in the office. They're not significant.
okay. All right, any, questions? Does anybody have any questions at this point? I guess, make sure we do our homework. So
So-
what you're saying is that if we have any questions,
On the audit, I guess reach out to Tiffany and she'll have to collect everything and then send it to Scott,
Or Deborah, or, yeah.
because,
So is that isn't that not the AP, but the one isn't the quarterly committee part of making sure that all that's okay?
the audit?
Yeah, we used to do that as part of the quarterly. That's why we're checking everything.
I mean, the full board needs to check it.
No, I know it comes the full board, but it used to go to that
well, we're
first.
still able to ask them questions when they're presented.
Well, yeah, you can say, hey, what's that? What's that? It's just, it's a public meeting, so they appreciate.
Being more concise.
We'll go in that.
I was wondering, because in the past, we, had a committee that looked over stuff with you, Deborah, just to make sure if you had specific issues or questions.
Wasn't it called an audit committee?
I think it was part of what you guys are doing on the, quarterly. I don't think we ever had a quote unquote audit committee, did we?
I
Audit
don't
ad
know,
hoc?
quarterlies don't always line up with the time that the audits are prepared. But what I am doing now, when I get the journal entries, is I have asked them to give us a trial balance, a copy of their trial balance that I compare to ours, so that after I've done the journal entries, I know that the net positions are the same at the end of the audit period. And that has been done, and I have a few questions and comments for Scott, because there were a couple of issues that didn't balance exactly, and I need to know why they're off.
Right, so in the past, there were a couple board members that were able to talk about that stuff with you in case there were things that needed to go to the auditor, and I don't know how we're doing that this year. I guess that's my
Okay.
question.
So first, I would send Scott a memo and ask my questions, and then of course, if there are any questions you have after reviewing the report, then we can make, what we did was we made a special appointment, either phone or by Zoom, to discuss those questions or those issues before you meet with them, before he presents the final in your next meeting.
I'd like to suggest that you guys at least give it a few days of reading it to see if there's any cause or need for that. You guys might read it and it's,
Well, it's not gonna be in here, it would be what Deborah comes up with if there's inconsistencies, because she has to do, this is just not, I mean, unless there's something really standing out here, this is pretty like boilerplate stuff every single year. The issues come up more with stuff that is inconsistent or stuff that doesn't, that there's no way that we know it, because unless, the only people that would know it would be the quarterly people, because Deborah would be talking to them when you guys do the quarterly review about something that doesn't match up or some issue or.
But but the quarterly's only going to do in our own book. It's not going to compare to the audit at all.
Right, it's more of what the auditor asked Deborah to do that isn't obvious in here and isn't obvious to anyone who doesn't know about it, so how do we get that information? is
well,
what I
if
guess.
Deborah had anything come up like that, then she would have to tell people, right?
Right, but she should be telling, I mean,
And then they could
You
say,
guys-
okay, yeah, we need something more.
yeah, exactly.
So
So are you-
Tuesday, when I go back in, because like I said, I've completed all of the work up to that point, and I have identified the questions or comments that I have for Scott. It will go to him in an email, and it will also go to directors, so that you will know what my questions are.
Okay, so you're gonna do it with the quarterly people? Cause
No,
it can't go to the whole
directors.
meeting. You're gonna do it at the meeting? Because we need to know that before we have the meeting with them on the,
Right, well, she's gonna, so in that email, you have to say, Deborah, I'm sending this, well, it can go at information only.
If nobody responds.
As long as nobody responds, I mean, you have to put that in the email, that this is information only, to the directors, please do not respond.
I could do that.
I think
Cause
that,
we wanna make sure we don't, violate the Brown Act, we don't wanna have a serial meeting.
yeah, I would say, cause when they come in, they kind of just do their, I mean, it's not like anything gets changed really, usually, or anything, and then we
That's the
vote
reason-
on it.
that's the reason in the past we've had questions, because there is no ad hoc to look it over.
Well, in the past, it was, I thought it was part of, but I think they were together back then, we weren't doing it as an ad hoc, and I don't know, I don't remember what we did last year.
And that ad hoc went really long, didn't it?
I don't
It
even
lasts per
remember.
month?
In the past, that ad hoc could have gone very long because we were still making a bunch of changes, but at this point, Deborah, stuff's pretty smooth because we have both the AP meeting every single time before the checks that's catching stuff. And we have the quarterly that's separate, well, one person that's the same and a different set of eyes that's catching stuff. So I think and we've made most of the changes. The issues in the past were our assets, and I don't even know where we stand on that, but I think we're pretty good on that because we have a procedure in place, right, Deborah? So that's not as big of an issue as it was in the past. And I know that the bond book came up as an issue, and we actually addressed that as part of the bond book committee. So that came up from the auditors,
Right.
and that's been addressed
How do we
with the
wanna
auditors.
handle this? That's
So
the
what
question.
then, but at the end, we can decide if we wanna make an ad hoc. We can do that at on number 22 or 20.
I mean, we may not need to, it's just really what Deborah tells us is insufficient this year.
Right, but if you're gonna have to make an ad hoc, we'd make it at the end of the meeting, so that it would be available, that
If there's an
if,
issue.
if there's an issue, then Deborah would have to contact that ad hoc
Right.
and make them to come together before the
The next
the
meeting,
next meeting.
right.
Deborah, where are we at on the assets? Are we pretty good with all the new purchases that we have? Everything's gone into correct spots and there's no questions and we don't have stuff left over from before? We finished all that, right? I can't remember. That's why I'm asking.
Can you hear me?
Barely, yeah.
All right, so, yes, we are up to date. I just wanted to comment that I think historically in the past, how we operated is you had a financial ad hoc. That one was in place for quite a long time. And those members were the ones that met with me and with Scott, but there is no longer a financial ad hoc. So if there is someone on the board or representation on the board that wants to be part of the questions, then you'll need to let me know who's going to take over that task.
Well, I said, we'll pick 20.
Okay, so we'll address when we get that.
I don't have any, I did all of the journal entries and I didn't have any questions about them. They all made sense. It was,
Good.
the only question I had was that it was a timing issue. There was one journal entry that I needed to not make because I had actually done the posting after the financials had gone to audit. But I need to make sure that the auditors are aware of that because our numbers are still off a little bit. But everything's current, everything's up to date. And I think the most part, all the numbers are good and there's no drastic differences in the draft that you're looking at.
Great, so stuff is working, so obviously having the AP and having the quarterly is helping.
And having Deborah.
And having Deborah, of course, is helping a lot.
Well, I think reviewing the financials as much as we do has really helped to keep things from falling through the cracks.
Right.
Because we have more pairs of eyes looking at things than analysts.
Great, and I think the one big issue that came up was like I said, the bond book stuff, and that we've resolved, I believe. I'm gonna look and see if they resolved it correctly, but I think it's resolved now. Thank you, Deborah. Just was wondering how we were gonna do that.
Okay, so, thank you, Deborah. We'll move on. Moving on to number
Have a great weekend.
11, closed session. Oral announcement prior to closed session, Government Code 54957.7, parentheses A representative of the legislative body to orally announce the items to be discussed in closed session prior to any closed session meeting. 11, closed session pursuant to Government Code 54957, conference with legal counsel / existing litigation, government code 54956.9, parentheses D, parentheses 1, Fraser Park Public Utility District versus CNC Elite Properties LLC et al. Kern County Superior Court Case Number BCV 20-24-100199. So at this point, we are gonna go into closed session at 4:30. Guys, we'll be back, shortly and quickly,
We hope.
we hope.
Oh, oh, ow.
Oh. Did it again, tripped over my own cane, not the first time. I broke my toe last.
Me neither, Lisa.
Alright. Okay, oh, no, I was waiting for Director Gibson to come back.
He's here, he's already here.
You're right there. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, we're back in order at 4:52. Oral announcement following closed session, Government Code 54957.1, parentheses A, the legislative body of any local agency shall publicly report any action taken in closed session and the vote or abstention on the action of every member present thereon. So there's nothing to report, so we'll go on to number 12, discussion vote, update on Fraser Park Lake of the Woods consolidation planning project. A, discussion vote, review of the project timeline and budget. Everything is
No changes.
copacetic. No changes, okay. B, discussion vote on acquisition development of well 9 additional booster tanks, site property, certificate of compliance and lot line adjustments.
I have a communication into Holly Nelson, who is the head of that particular department, to ask her what the status of the review of our submittal and request for a certificate of compliance is, and what the status is. So I expect a reply. Well, maybe tomorrow, but probably next week. And then I'll update you on the next meeting, or if there's something that we can actually do earlier, then I'll send an email out to Tiffany and she can copy the board.
Okay. All right, C, discussion vote on the memorandum of understanding. Did we,
That was last meeting's homework.
right, but we
Yes.
also, it was sent to
To Alan?
Alan?
No, you said not to send it to Alan.
I thought we said,
No, because we were going to talk about it first to see. We didn't wanna spend money on something that, well, first we were gonna talk to Lake of the Woods because we wanted to try to figure out how we can consolidate the two, because Lake of the Woods has their completely new, completely owned memorandum of understanding that doesn't take into account the memorandum of understanding that we paid all that money on the pre-planning for. So we never finished it because there were certain things that we didn't know back then that we could not do, and then there were certain questions and things that were coming up from Lake of the Woods. But I really think that we need to meet together personally to hammer out the two different MOUs, somehow consolidate them with agreement between the two boards. I think personally, as a meeting before it ever goes to the attorney again. Otherwise, we're spending all this money to give it to the attorney to be done again.
Yeah, but the problem with that, the one thing I see with that is when I read their MOU, there's several things in there that are not, even a non-attorney knows, they're not bindable. Wait a minute, they're not bindable regardless of how much you guys talk separately, because once we take over, their district is no longer an issue. There's nothing that's the 3 years and all that kind of stuff that they want after. None of that is even feasible. So we should
We
just,
know that, so why would we go to the attorney to have him tell us that it's not something that, so that's why I'm suggesting, just personally, I'm suggesting that we all get together amicably, sit down as two boards, which we're able to do as long as we post it. And have a meeting where we go over, like we have both of these, like you guys tell us the things that can be included that are in the original. We tell you what absolutely makes no sense that's in yours, because there's some stuff in yours that cannot be done once we come together. It's just not, it's not how this, like a public utility works. We can't just like run stuff. I mean, there's like stuff in there that, yeah, isn't doable, even though your attorney okayed all of that. And that we hammer all that out before we go spend a bunch more money on your attorney or our attorney, so that we have stuff that we're agreeing on, and then send it to both attorneys. And then vote on it.
I would think that we should have the two boards and our attorney here at the same time, so he could just cut to the chase on what needs to be done and what doesn't need to be done. That's because we're gonna try to do as much as we can to encompass their concerns, when actually we need to worry about what we need to do to make the two systems work together.
Okay, here's my concern.
You guys-
No, yes.
Sorry, I was just wondering if it would be easier if both our attorneys just talk about the two MOUs.
I'm thinking, you know, cause I personally think that Alan needs to look at this and see what he says about this, with the understanding that we're gonna have to put the other MOU together with it that we already started. That he doesn't do that right now, but that he looks at Lake of the Woods to what's acceptable and what's not acceptable according to our attorney.
But then we're.
Yeah, Lisa, we don't know. I have
You guys
something.
can just vote no. I'm
No,
just saying
but I have some things in here. It's like the steering committee. I have a problem with the steering
Exactly,
committee.
but we can talk to them about
Right,
that,
right,
that
but-
doesn't make
but
sense.
Alan knows enough that he's gonna say, well, these certain stipulations that they're making is not acceptable.
Yeah, they've already heard the fact that we think that that's not gonna work, but it hasn't been changed yet. So us talking isn't
Well, I
gonna
don't
change
think
their
it's-
mind.
If it's changed, so have you, okay, so there are some things in your MOU for Lake of the Woods that are not something that works with a public utility district. So have you guys considered that? I hate for both of us to spend all this money on attorneys over and over again, when first of all, we don't even know if we're getting the money. So that's part of this too, is that we can't finally hammer this out until probably the construction phase of this project, when they've
Yes.
actually given us the money and we're actually able to even, but we can work out a lot of pre-stuff, but that's what I'm saying. I don't know if we need all the attorneys lining their pockets while we work on this pre-stuff together, that hopefully we can agree on because we have a friendly relationship, or so I think, that
Yeah.
we should be able
So
to come to.
our attorney has seen annexations happen where there is collaboration with the current boards on both. So I think it's, a good question to talk to your attorney about, because our attorney says he's seen it in other consolidations. So I understand that you guys are public and you guys have to go out to vote and that whole process, but during the consolidation, and we just really want our board to have a chance to talk about the rates, and so we want the merger to go smoothly, for both customers.
My issue is, it's like people want to stay on the board, so we're gonna create it so they can stay on the board that's no longer really needed. And if anybody wants to be on the board of Fraser Park, once we consolidate, they could run for a seat that comes open and they're fully represented.
But that doesn't
Agreed.
happen.
That doesn't happen right at the consolidation, so we just want the seamless transition. So I think that you guys have got a valid point. Double check with your attorney if that's even feasible, because our attorney said he's seen it. That's why it's in there.
Well, didn't he write it? What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Your attorney, our attorney's, MOU?
absolutely. Yeah, it was written back in, 2016, 2017. He said it was very outdated, and so it should be more of a consolidation agreement. And so that's why he wrote ours up that way.
Oh, there's.
He did the same thing, for Krista. So,
Well, I don't know why he didn't redline ours to actually save a ton of money with attorneys and go through ours and redline it, so we know exactly what he thinks as opposed to what our attorney thinks. Then our attorney could just look at that and say, yeah, okay, this is good, this ain't good. Instead, he wrote an entirely separate MOU. Now we have to spend all kinds of time and money trying to compile the two. Your attorney should have just done it. Like I said, made notes in
Yeah,
ours.
because I don't
Would've been
think we
easy.
can completely abandon the MOU that we already worked on because the state paid a good amount of money for that previous MOU. It's not complete. It's absolutely not complete because we couldn't complete it because there were all the stipulations that have to do with whether we're actually gonna get this grant money or not.
Nor would we want to. The initial thing was we were gonna protect Fraser Park constituents with the consolidation, and it would make it fair for everybody else. We're a public utility. We can't be unfair to Lake of the Woods and more fair to Fraser Park. It's already in the law that we can't do anything detrimental like that.
Right.
I don't know why we can't just work with the one MOU, since we're all gonna be one main district anyway. The grand jury would step in and have a field day with that.
We're
Well,
not suggesting two, we're just saying replace it with the one we're submitting, but what would you like us to do? Joan and I are available. We talked to our board, they felt that Joan and I should represent Lake of the Woods because we're in the thick of it. So we're totally willing to meet up with you guys, go over what you guys don't want, do want, and then go from there.
But that's what I would suggest before we even go back to just personally, before we go back to the attorneys, if we're able to do that in an amicable way, that we somehow put both of the MOUs together with the points that are really important to you guys and the points that are really important to us. We still won't be able to finish it because we cannot finish it until we know whether we're gonna get money or
Then you're
not.
effectively doing without our MOU. That's why their attorney needs to go back to notes that they wrote it. And do like I said, go through our copy of the MOU and redline it and add things that he thinks is contradictory or something he wants in there as well. Then it's gonna be a lot easier for Alan to go through it and read it and determine what to do instead of us trying to compile two things. That makes zero sense to me. It makes no sense at all. Anytime you send a document to another party, they can make red lines on that document. Otherwise, you're just rewriting the whole thing.
Okay, I'll send it back to our attorney and have him do what you've asked.
Yeah, because Pam, I think it's important. I think it's important because it was originally worked out between the two attorneys before when we did the pre-planning. And so if there are changes that need to be made, you know, because our attorney has already reviewed that one and had already put those in place. So if there's something in there that he needs to change, he should like Johnny said, redline it and then the other things he wants to add, then he can show that in there, adding that in so that we get one MOU and that we can review and that our attorney can review and so that we're able to come to some agreement. Director Gibson.
Hey Tiffany, this is mostly for you.
Sure.
If we add two people to an ad hoc that aren't board members, does that go against the Brown Act?
No, it's just.
No, you can,
Thank you.
it's the board, it's the board president can appoint anybody to an ad hoc committee, aside from our board members. So yeah.
But no, that's the thing I talked to you about. That's that new stuff in the Brown Act that when I went through the training, that says that you have to make it a standing, you can't just do an ad hoc because if you add outside people that are not part of Fraser Park Public Utility District, you can do it, absolutely, but it has to be agenda.
That's all, and agendas isn't a big deal, but yes, you can add outside people. The board president can appoint outside people to the ad.
But then it's no longer really an ad hoc per se, it's
No,
not
it
a
is.
standing,
It's
it's
still
still
an
called
ad
an
hoc.
ad hoc, but it's agendized ad hoc. Okay.
Yeah, because one of the things that I also noticed in like the original MOU, there was stuff in there talking about getting equipment. And then in this MOU, there's
Doesn't mention it at all.
well, no, it mentions equipment, but it kind of has some
They,
vague things that's kind of saying whether we would get the equipment or not. I was, some of this stuff I was a little confused on.
I think it's the
Right.
transfer of asset conversation. So there, yeah, the transfer of asset would be a list of all of our assets, and that would include the equipment. You're getting everything,
Yeah.
including the
But
old backhoe. So all of that
Right.
will be in there, and so it'll be an attachment to it. They just didn't list it all because,
Okay.
like I said, I have a list started. It's going to be changing as we get closer of things that we purchase along the way.
And I guess when I read this too, I was also kind of the tenor of it sounded, like if it's not unanimous
Cereal.
and it seemed a little adversarial when the planning was already done. And that I think the main thing in our MOU originally was that we were gonna get full funding. And I guess I understand that we were gonna get full funding for this to happen.
I think we're all in agreement on that we want full funding and we want enough water to handle both systems before we can go through with consolidation.
Right.
But
Yeah.
if the past session attorney can do it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'll take it back to him and to my board.
And are you willing, okay, so once it gets red line, or once it gets changed by your attorney, then I still think that we should meet first and make sure that there, and read it all and see if there's anything else that needs to be changed before it goes back to our attorney again.
Great.
And then we are gonna have to fold in all that other stuff, so I think there's still no possibility of us voting on this yet as a final MOU.
Well, no one's talking about voting.
Yeah,
right
but it'll be a
now.
lot more concise when it's just redlined and you can just go
Correct.
by paragraph
It's,
by paragraph.
hard,
Right.
With the two boards,
yeah,
Right.
it just doesn't.
mash up.
Right.
Do you know who your MOU board is? Like, or ad hoc committee? So that we can meet with you? Or do you just want me to send it out like I did last time and then you guys will come to us when you're ready? Because it's Joan and I on our side.
Yeah, just send it to everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is
Okay.
Joan. Does this have any impact on your timeline?
no, not to my understanding, Joan, I'm sorry, I'm gonna answer that. To my understanding, and I've asked this question over and over and over again for years now, is that does this need to be completed for the planning portion? And my understanding, Carlos, is that it can happen, it has to be completed for us to actually take the funding and have it in hand. But it can be completed at the beginning of the construction phase before the funding is actually, we can have the funding agreement, but before we actually have the funding, we need to have an MOU.
I believe it's the last thing we do in planning.
Before, yes, well, no, I believe that we can do it in construction, it's not the last thing.
Well,
in
yeah, what
planning
I'm saying is
because-
it's gonna carry over once we know we have the funding letter. That's what we need is the.
Right, but
funding.
the planning is done before the funding letter is gonna happen, so that's what I'm saying, it's gonna have to be
Right.
construction, because our.
Okay,
planning
but
runs out very
I have a different take on this maybe. Dee, are you listening to this?
Yes.
Okay. Well, because my thing is that when we close out the planning, at that point, part of, in the MOU, the main stipulations are in the there's no reason why the MOU can't be signed because, wait a second, Lisa, just listen to me. Because what's gonna be in the MOU is gonna say, like, one of the things in there is about the funding. So that the project isn't gonna go forward unless the funding is approved.
If
So
we can
if
spell
you-
it out well
so-
enough,
So what's that?
if we can spell that out well enough, but
Well,
then we're a little
But
worried
that's
about
what
that.
the MOU is for.
I-
That's, and, okay, Dee, when do we have to have this MOU, or Carlos? Explain to me what's,
In the planning before we get the money.
The MOU just needs to be done before you can access the grant funding. So you can get a funding agreement without your MOU in place, but you cannot access the funding. There'll be a condition put in your funding agreement saying the MOU has to be in place before you can access the funding, but you can get a funding agreement because I've had it done in another system where we get the funding agreement and the MOU gets executed after the fact.
Okay,
And the
so
reason-
maybe we
What-
don't
what-
execute,
What,
need to
what,
have most,
Yes, we can have.
we need to have all the work done before the planning is closed out.
The reason it's so important to not do it before the planning is closed out as a vote and still leave us the ability is that we will not really know until we have that application in and we physically have a funding agreement. At the point where we physically have a funding agreement, then we can
I
vote
didn't
on the
say
MOU.
execute
Yeah.
it, Director Schoenberg. What I said was that we would have the agreement, that we've come to an agreement, that the agreement is already completed. We don't have to execute it, and then, I mean,
Yeah,
I-
I disagree.
I think the
Well,
MOU stipulates right in it that this is null and void if we don't get the funding.
right, and that's what I was saying.
Yeah, that's why it has to be in place, but it becomes null and void if we don't get the funding. That's why, okay, Lisa, then maybe you should be on the standing committee so that you can make sure that the verbiage is in there. That, well, because we want the same thing. We want funding and we want water. Otherwise, it just falls apart, right? Or we proceed to get another well site, or we get more funding, or. If we want to put it in the
Right,
MOU.
don't forget, we have an annexation we have to do as well.
Exactly, and we're not gonna do that until we have a funding agreement. If we do it before that, we're crazy.
All right, so why are we working on the MOU now?
Because we need to have enough of it hammered out that we have an idea. It's really like a roadmap for where we're going, but we do not want to complete this, as I've been saying over and over and over again. We really don't want to complete it until we have a funding agreement. Because at that point, we know it's really going forward. We know we're really gonna have money.
I thought we could spell it out, that if we didn't get the funding agreement, it would make it null and void. I mean,
And
if our attorney says, yeah, it's ironclad.
I got a quick comment because that language is already, it's been in there since 2016, that it is null and void if the funding agreement is not obtained. But the only other thing that I have to say is that if we don't have the MOU done, and if we don't submit the annexation application, then this planning grant is gonna end in June, and we will not have that funding to do it. So that all that will have to come out of construction funding if it doesn't get done with the planning funding.
Right, but we already said that the annexation cannot get done in the planning because we have no idea if we're really gonna get funded. So it's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing. Unless we wait and take it out of the construction money, we're in trouble because we cannot go forward on an annexation without knowing that we're gonna have the money to do it. And Lake of the Woods is not gonna be happy with us going forward on an annexation and finding out we can't do what we said we're gonna do. So I think it has to come out of the construction. The whole thing with the planning is that we got to a point and we can do a whole bunch of stuff, but we can't do, sorry. Yeah, I just think that it's very difficult, and the whole issue with having it done in the planning is the annexation. That's the issue. The issue is not that we can't put an MOU together. We can, but the issue is that until we have really solid understanding that we're gonna have funding in hand, we can't annex.
I got a question. D, on the annexation, do we submit the application? And if we submit the application, wasn't there some verbiage that we were supposed to put into the application that says that the annexation will not happen unless we have funding? Didn't LAFCO say that some verbiage could be in there?
We had Bud Rice on the phone talking to us
Yeah.
about this same thing.
I believe that Bud Rice had said that was part of the application, that we could put that in, that would be part of the application.
But you only have a certain amount of time.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't remember. I do know that we submitted a map and it was approved back in 2016, 17, 18, something like that. And they've been holding that. We'll probably have to update it. That's one of the big things that, we have to do. And I don't anticipate any changes in it. Just, resubmit it actually with a new date once we just review it. So, as far as the annexation goes, I think it's an application. We have to have our environmental done, and Tom Dodson is working on that now. And so, we'll have, I think, all the pieces in place to,
but how
file
long is?
a request for an
I guess the
annexation.
question is when does the application have to be submitted? And how long is that, how long is it good for, like, if we wait on the annexation, like Lisa's saying, because, I mean, submitting the application, is there a time limit? I mean, I know that the MSR is supposedly good for 5 years, but I just wondering, all this other work that we've already paid for in the planning, how long is that good for?
We're gonna have to do some of it again. We're gonna have to do an MSR again, because it's gonna run out before we have
Yeah.
the construction in hand.
Maybe we should see if we could have another meeting with Bud Rice. To hammer this.
He, the last time I spoke to Kern LAFCO was in October of 2025, and Blair Knox explained to me the process of the application. So, and he did tell me, do not wait another year to submit the annexation application, where it looks like that, like we're going that way. But basically, he said that once the LAFCO gets a completed application, he has a year to bring it before the
commission?
commission for their consideration and vote. Then the commissioners can vote to it. The commissioners can vote to extend for an additional year at the request of the applicant. So if after that year you guys say, okay, we need another year, you guys can extend it for another year. And then if the application is submitted in June of 2026, they send out a notice that starts the clock for the first year before he's required to bring it before the commission. Then the applicant can request the additional year. Then once the commission has approved the annexation, LAFCO has a year to submit the certificate of completion for the annexation, or the annexation is terminated. So I think even at that point, if you guys are not ready, you guys can tell LAFCO, and like you said, you guys can have another meeting to discuss this with them, but you guys can tell them, okay, we're not ready, do not submit the certificate of completion, and then the annexation can be terminated. But they did
So I
say
guess-
do not wait another year to submit it, but it's
Okay.
already getting to
So,
that point.
Carlos, here's the other question. So if in 2028, we end up terminating the annexation because we haven't gotten funding yet and all this stuff, then we have to what, resubmit?
That's what we gotta have.
And are we gonna have to redo everything, the sequel and all that? So how many thousands of dollars is that? And, I mean, this,
Well, that's why we should have, you guys should have another meeting with Kern LAFCO and discuss this so you guys can know all the what ifs. If you submit the application, if you don't, and therefore and so forth. So it's better to know. So get a meeting with them.
We could set that up
Okay.
with Blair
Yeah.
and have a Teams or a Zoom meeting with Blair very easily, I think. We already did the consolidation, the preliminary engineering report for the consolidation. That's done. The mapping's done. The sequel will be done. The design will be done in June. you know, we're right on the cusp of actually, getting to the point that we can really do this. And it would seem to me that that MOU is going to be a real important part of it.
Yeah, and I'll be submitting the construction funding application here by June of this year. So usually takes 6 to 9 months to get a funding agreement. So let's say a year from June. So by June of 2027, we should have a funding agreement.
So we have a year to finish the MOU.
We got to get that MOU together. Got to hammer that out. I think that's just
Yeah, I
something.
think the sooner, like D saying, the sooner we get the MOU hammered out, the better.
We've spent a lot of money up to this point, and we've got a lot of stuff that we have produced. So I mean, it's not like, yeah, I mean, we've come a long ways. And the other thing is that the state really wants to see this happen. And, that's why they're willing to, commit $17.5 million to, the project, the well aid and pipeline replacement project. They're willing to throw some money at this thing to really get it done. It's I wouldn't say it's a top priority, but it is definitely it is a priority at the state. And that's what I hear. I've heard that several times. And Carlos, you may have heard it as well. They want to see this happen.
Yes, they're really excited to see consolidations happen.
Well, it's just, I don't wanna sit here and argue back and forth, but I just want some clarity on, I guess we need a meeting with Bud Rice, because we need some clarity on what the application stance is compared to the MOU and what we put in the MOU. If we put in the application and our MOU says this isn't gonna happen without funding, then are they gonna complete it? They extend it for a year? Do they just let everything go away, or, Go ahead, Director Schoenberg.
So I have a question, Dee. When is our date of us having to do another MSR? When did our MSR get approved?
I think it was last year. And so we have a few years. We've got a few years on it.
I think it was last year, we went down there to that meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we have, our problem is, and we've had that meeting with LAFCO. LAFCO's issue is what they do is they do the annexations. Our whole issue with funding and all that, they're not really, I mean, it doesn't affect them, it affects us. And that's why we keep chasing our tail, so to speak, is that it's this like weird thing where we if we do this, then that, it's like, so if we really have the funding agreement, if we really have the funding application all done and ready to go in June of 2027, and it's funded in, let's say, June of 2028, we may still be okay if we went forward with everything. But if it's not done, then we aren't. So it's like this whole thing of we just don't know. Because this thing goes on and on and on.
Here's another aspect of it. After we talk to Blair and we get that hammered out, then we go ahead and say, okay, we're gonna do the whole 2 thing, the wait takes them a year, then they can put it off for a year. Then we tell the state, look, the annexation is gonna happen. We're gonna have to decide by this date unless we have a funding agreement. That may speed them up too. Okay, fine, now it's moving forward. Can we get them a funding agreement? So it may work out good that way.
That's true.
Yeah, I think we're in the right pace to get the funding agreement before the annexation even happens, so.
Yeah.
But we need to get a meeting with them so you guys can hear from their mouth. What are your options to get out of the process of the application if stuff's not going the way you want? So I think it's good that we have a meeting with them.
Yeah, we are at this point, we need to know what happens if we do have to terminate and what we need to do again if we have to terminate,
Ooh.
because it's still potentially going forward.
Why don't you create an ad hoc, for people that can meet with them, cause it may be better for you guys to
Is
go
it
down.
just the planning? The Lake of the
Well,
Woods
to
one?
go down there and meet with them at LAFCO, as opposed to trying to do it on the phone. To me, meetings are a lot more productive and laid back if you're sitting face to face with people.
Well, we went as part of our planning before, so I
Right.
mean, we can just do
Yeah.
this. I already have a good idea of what has to happen and what doesn't have to happen. It's like they've talked to us, I don't know how many times. We've gone down there multiple times.
Yeah, but I think it's good to have refresher to
But
see
we
what's
don't-
changed,
Yeah,
what's, you know, and to bring up some of these scenarios.
yeah, what we don't know is what happens if we have to terminate it. Like,
Right.
what do we do at that point? Like that, we don't have spelled out very well.
Right,
Are we still on memorandum of
Yes.
understanding?
Yes,
yes.
Because the MOU has to do with the annexation and the annexation has to do with LAFCO.
yeah, I know, it sort of seems out of order, but it's all
So Dee,
wrapped up together.
could you maybe put together the email with, who we need to talk to at LAFCO and see if you can put together a meeting with the ad hoc?
The ad hoc or the entire
the
board?
The planning ad hoc.
It'll be Brahma and, Lisa.
Yeah.
Okay, it might be easier to, I'll find out from Blair.
I think we should go there. We can go there, Dee.
And Pam, you continue to work on your MOU, please.
And I don't see why we couldn't if we agreed upon it and agendized it, or however we have to do it, if we could have Pam and Joan participate in that.
That's right. That's right.
Because I
Yeah.
think that's probably what needs to happen too. I mean, at this point, it needs to not be like, we need to both be working at how we get this done. Like, that's where we need to be, I think, and so the more input from, if they're the ad hoc for Lake of the Woods, then the more input we have from them, the more we're working together, the better off we're gonna be.
And if you can include me as well, D.
Yeah,
Thanks.
that will, Carlos. Carlos. Pam,
Okay,
Joan. Brahma,
Roma,
Lisa, Johnny.
And did you get me?
Yeah. Oh,
Thank you.
yeah.
and Tiff,
Sorry, Pam. Yeah,
That's okay.
and
I just
You
didn't hear
too.
my name.
you too.
Thanks.
don't forget to,
Yeah.
Okay, so if I can recap, Lake of the Woods is going to go back to our attorney and ask him to take the MOU from 2016 to redline out anything that is going to be deleted from it or changed in any way, then indicate what the changes are. Then that will be presented back to the FPPUD board. And then I'm assuming
As
at
one
that
member.
time, the board is going to put together an ad hoc committee to then discuss those changes. And assuming we come to an agreement on it as to what basic thoughts we are agreeable on, then it will go to the attorneys to have them review it. Is that?
That
the
was my,
scenario?
yes.
pretty much.
Is
Okay,
that your-
thank you.
Could our attorney go through their MOU and redline it?
We're gonna pay,
Why should we pay? what we
Okay,
already
wait a
paid?
second. Alf, see, this is,
That's afterwards.
okay, we're gonna go back to this circle again, but my thing about it is, once their attorney redlines it,
Mhm.
and we have one MOU, I still think that it should go to our attorney so that he can agree with the basic concept of what their attorney has said, and then we can have another meeting of the minds if there's things that we don't agree on.
fine, I just don't see our attorney looking at both of these things and trying to put
Right.
it together.
Right, so that's what I'm saying, so.
Which is the money,
So once your attorney has one MOU redlined with the 2016 one and added your stuff, we'll send it to our attorney to review it and see what his opinion is on the things that he's added and what he's redlined and so on and so.
The stuff that he's put in there that we're not sure if it's something that can be done or not done.
Right,
The
and
attorney
so,
can tell us
so the
that.
attorney can review it, and then there can be a meeting of the minds, okay?
Sounds good.
Does that sound,
And is your attorney's cost for doing this, is this covered under any of your planning budget funds?
I don't know, what I got, I
Because
gotta
I
look
know ours
over,
hasn't been.
yeah, Joan, I've gotta look over that and see how much we put in there, for that.
In the planning, there is, I believe there is a section for MOU for Fraser Park.
Yeah,
And,
you.
and I think that, I don't remember if we had that discussion of whether, no, because Lake of the Woods used to be included in the pre-planning back in the day. I don't know if anything got included in the planning, but all this is,
I think
all this is reimbursable in the future once we do the final FBA package, or when D is doing the budget, he can include a legal for both
Yeah,
people in the budget for the construction funding.
yeah, we'll get it back. Yeah, when we're done with this discussion, I'd like to circle back to item 11, if you don't mind.
item 11?
Hmm.
What do you mean item?
Yeah, the closed session.
We want to go back to closed session?
Yeah, just a brief, I've got an update for you.
Oh, okay, all right, I'll entertain are we done with this? Cause I think we're done with this
I
discussion.
think we're done with C, yes.
Okay, oh my
But
God,
can we go back to, is it something
Yeah.
that can be public?
no.
No, that's why.
No, we're gonna go back.
Oh.
So I entertain a motion that we go back to number 11 closed session.
Oh. Go ahead. You had my name.
I move that we go back to closed session.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Director Gibson has made a motion to go back to number 11 and Director Kelly has seconded it. Roll call of directors, Director Schoenberg,
I,
Director Garcia is absent, Director Gibson,
Hi.
Director Kelly, and Director Nyman's an aye. Okay, motion carried, 4-0-1 absent. Okay, oral announcement prior to closed session, Government Code 54957.7, parentheses A, a representative of the legislative body to orally announce the items to be discussed in closed session prior to any closed session meeting. 11, closed session pursuant to Government Code 54957. Conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code 54956.9, parentheses D, parentheses 1, Fraser Park Public Utility District versus CNC Elite Properties LLC, comma, et al. Kern County Superior Court Case Number BCV-24-100199. We are going into closed session at 5:35. And we'll try to make it quick, guys. We're sorry about this. Gee. Shoot me now.
stuff and claims, and there was no claim, so.
Carry on.
Carry on our wayward son. There'll be peace when I am gone. Lay my.
Tiffany and Brahma are gonna go on vacation after the meeting.
Okay,
Called this right.
okay.
You.
Oral announcement following closed session, government code 54957-1, parentheses A. The legislative body of any local agency shall publicly report any action taken in closed session and the vote or abstention on the actions of every member present thereon. There is nothing to report. So we're gonna open up at 5:41 out of closed session. And we are going back to
12D.
12D. Discussion vote on Lake of the Woods projects and consolidation. You're up, Pam.
Hey, guys. All right, so the $9.3 million grant now, there's nothing new to report. There has been movement on the generator grant. We're discussing that with Jonathan. Originally thought we would be putting it together with the 9.3 project to save on mobilization and demobilization. But with the changeover, I think it kind of got lost off to the side, and we needed to acquire that property over at the blending station to put the generator there. So that's moving forward a little bit. I'm not sure when that'll happen, but anyway, well, number 4, nothing new to report. Blending station, we're currently replacing a booster station or a booster pump at that station, and nothing new on the wells.
Okay. All right, any questions? Director Gibson.
Just from my memory, is that grant in place because of the consolidation? Or is it separate? Did they consider the consolidation when they gave you the grant?
Or state.
Well, the $9.3 million grant isn't in agreement yet. We haven't gotten it, but I'm sure they're thinking that it's to help with the annexation because you guys wanted our system updated, and so we are with this grant we're updating our system. So I'm sure it goes hand in hand once we get it. We're hoping we get the full amount. We've asked for the moon, and we're hoping they give it to us.
And if I can add on to that, we had originally asked for 5 million because when we asked for 5 million, we thought, well, we'll ask and we'll see what happens. And then they came back and said, well, what do you need to replace all of your old pipelines? Get all of your engineering done for everything that's left. And so we got the engineering done, gave them an amount as to what it's expected to be at the 9.3, and that's why they are considering bumping it up to the 9.3 so that we don't have to come back and ask for any more or updating all of our pipelines. So we will be, with the exception of North Tanks and any of the old wells, we will have a brand new system.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Well, you're welcome. Okay, moving on to E, discussion vote on claims and payout. I know there's nothing until next meeting, so did you have any comments you wanted to make, Carlos, or do you need to make any comments?
The only thing I have is Tiffany on that invoice that Eric mentioned that they disallowed for claim. Was it 50 or 52? If we can send it back to the consultant so they can adjust it, because they asked for 20% contingency or something, and the state only pays up to 15%, so that's why they disallowed that amount. Do you remember that invoice, Tiffany?
Is that the one where they disallowed the $840?
Yes, 840 on each one of the 840, then 840.
Right, okay, yeah, I remember that invoice.
So if you send it back and tell them that the state only allows up to 15% instead of the 20, and if they can fix that, then and send the whole invoice with the backup, then I can submit it in this next invoice for reimbursement.
Okay.
next claim. Okay, perfect. All right, thank you, Carlos. We're on to 13, discussion vote on well 8 and pipeline replacement project.
Well,
Discussion on engineering and design.
Maya,
Yes, you're up.
okay. Well, Carlos and I have been working pretty hard here to get this thing into shape for the state to move it on up in their administrative process. And the first submittal, of course, we had to,
D first, I think we need to get through A, which is engineering and design. I think that you've gotten approval on everything on that, correct?
yeah. Yeah,
Okay, so then we can move on to B. That's part of discussion vote on the project application there. Now you can go. I didn't want
Now
to
I
be
can-
out of order.
okay. So we have, we had the special meeting a couple days ago. And we appointed a new authorized representative and did that by a resolution. And so that was done, and Jerry is now that representative. And he had to sign the two documents, the self-certification form and the application. And so we got that done, and Carlos uploaded it to the state portal about 9 o'clock a couple nights ago. And I think that was it, Carlos. And I didn't know that he had done that. And I had a few other things to submit as well. And so I resubmitted it on top of what he submitted. So we know the state has 2 copies of each of those. And then I redid the well construction schedule and the pipeline replacement schedule in accordance with what the state had indicated they would like to see as a start date, which I moved to January 4th, 2027. And so that moved the dates out that much time, about 6 months. And so those schedules were resubmitted. Got a couple of comments today from Jonathan, and so we addressed those and got everything regarding the budget. And so there's that has been budget and timeline have been approved, but there is a question that I posed to Carlos actually, and then I think we'll pose it to the state. The work that we've done on the well 8 and pipeline replacement project, we've been billing that through the consolidation planning funding, and because the TA funding had run out. And so we're thinking that we will submit those bills, those invoices which you have, to the state, include those as part of our budget for the well 8 and pipeline replacement project budget. And so that we can repay the consolidation funding because we spent it on well 8 and the pipeline replacement project, most of it pipeline replacement. So I'm concerned that we don't want to borrow from one fund and run out of funding because we used it to get all the engineering and all the pipeline replacement project design done. And so that's what I posed to Jonathan, and he said that would be a good idea. And I'll upload that tomorrow, and we'll see if the state will, if they want to do that. It basically comes out of the same purse, but there's a couple of chambers in that purse, and one is this one, which is a specific grant for well 8 and pipeline replacement. And the connection to the consolidation, of course, is well 8. And so there's some justification for actually billing some of that to the consolidation design. But the pipeline replacement project is a separate project, and it has its own budget in the budget that I've submitted. So I'm doing that tomorrow on Jonathan's recommendation. And Carlos, you want to wait on this a little?
No, just I agree. If if Jonathan thought that it was a good idea, then we should do that, and we'll see what the state has to say.
Yeah, all they can do is say no, but that would just assure us that we haven't.
Yeah, and if they say no, then I mean this funding is pretty much going to go away in June anyway. So if we don't use it at all, I don't know if we're going to use it all, but if we don't, then it's just going to go away anyways.
I think we will. We're on track to get this whole thing done and designed, everything ready to go. So
Okay.
I don't think there's any issue there. So that's it. We've uploaded a bunch of stuff and spent a lot of paper and email time to get this thing all uploaded and approved. And it appears.
And thank you guys for your hard work on that.
Yeah, well, thanks, Brahma. We've really been pushing to get it there, and Jonathan has been good. I at first had some doubts because he took vacation when we needed him. Well, I thought we needed him the most. I needed him the most, and so he and he
He's
is
coming
really,
through.
he's been really great. He called me and apologized for being gone during that time. And, he is a genuine guy. He's a good guy, and he's on our side. He wants to see these things go. And so does his supervisor, Ileana Wold. And so, we've moved ahead. I know as it goes up the line, there'll be more questions, and there'll probably be some other information we have to submit. But it is in and it is approved for moving on up the administrative chain at Waterbury.
Awesome. Okay. All right, so we can move on to C, discussion vote, well, number 8, property acquisition. I think we're just kind of on a holding pattern.
We're here.
We're here.
Yep.
I don't think there's anything to add, so. We'll move on to 14.
May I ask a question? You guys had the hearing. What happened at the hearing? Did you
It
get,
didn't happen.
it got canceled or it got postponed?
I believe, can I say that, Dee?
Yeah.
Okay, so we, it was happening, we got halfway there and the court, what had happened is they had asked for an extension, CNC. And, the court did not grant their date that they wanted. That was because they did not have an appraisal. And instead it is moved to, March 12th of 2027. And I turned around and went home.
I don't believe it.
That's the bottom line right there.
Okay. Moving on to 14. Discussion vote. Thank you, Carlos. And I don't think we need D anymore, do we? Well, D can stay for this one.
Yeah, the B.
Yeah, but thank you, Carlos. Have a good evening.
All right, thank you guys. We'll talk later. Bye.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Carlos.
Bye.
14, discussion vote on parcel B, water tank replacement project, timeline, budget, environmental and engineering.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Well, we have a meeting with them next week, right?
The state.
Yeah, I can update.
The-
you.
The county.
I have a little bit of an update whenever
Go
you're
ahead.
ready. Okay,
We're ready.
we've now prepared the plans and specs. Johnny's reviewing them. Hopefully we'll get some kind of a nod, Johnny, next couple, 3 days or so. And, we have plans and specs. Johnny met with Curtis, a couple days ago. I don't know how, maybe a week ago, and had some suggestions which we implemented in the plans. And so now the plans and specs are ready to go to James Golden at the county as soon as Johnny gives us the nod. And so those are moving ahead. I got an email from James about a week ago or so, and he said, let's see, we need to obligate, bid out, and award and be under contract before August 12th to ensure that obligation requirement is made. So we have been pushing pretty hard to get everything done by the end of March, ready to, submit to them, then they can review it. And as soon as they get done reviewing it, we'll implement whatever changes they want. And I think we've got the HUD requirements, and so, I don't think there'll be very many changes. But then we'll present that to the board to approve, and then we can, in accordance with, the county is pretty well, piloting this thing, or they're moving it ahead. We will be ready to go to bid for it. So we're trying to, we're trying to beat that deadline. We don't have to have the project done by August 12th, but we have to be, under contract. So that's a
Right.
pretty easy one to meet. And,
Right.
we're not gonna sit idle once we get it,
And-
we're moving it right ahead.
And Dee, so the question is so we're under contract, when do the invoices all have to be submitted to them before, or for them to pay the invoices? By
Well,
what date?
Yeah, 120 days from August 12th. And this is part of his communication. There are 120 days from August 12th to complete the final drawdowns December 9th. So, we
Okay.
plan to move that. And the thing about this, the 850 some odd thousand, Tiffany, I don't remember the number, but that we spend that first. And so
Right.
their money goes out first. And so, that really helps because we can get, equipment purchased and, move right ahead with the
Materials.
earthwork and get everything, well, really not much earthwork, but, get the site all prepared, demo the tank, the existing tank, and then be ready for putting in the new tank. And Johnny, you probably don't you want to move that as far as you can because you want to use that tank until we have to replace it, till the materials are ready to go and they're ready to demo it and put the new tank back in the place that the old tank was in. So we'll have to coordinate that. But
Okay.
anyway, it's a pretty nice deal. And Tiffany, you really deserve a lot of credit. for
Yeah,
preparing
thank you,
that.
Tiffany. She did
you.
incredible work on that.
Yeah,
So
so that's
awesome.
where it is now. So it's moving
Okay,
ahead.
yeah. Yeah, we have our meeting next Thursday.
Yeah.
After
the state meeting.
the state meeting, so
Yeah, and you saw it's at 11:05.
yeah.
I asked for 11:30, but it's a conflict with the county.
So we just had to
So
push
they-
the state to go faster.
Yeah, so-
hopefully.
Right,
That's the
but we
best
don't
thing.
have that, we've had less things, so I think getting done in an hour is not a problem. So hopefully not. Okay,
Depends on who's there.
And
so,
bless his heart, Jesse is retired.
Okay.
He had a lot of questions.
I went ahead and sent the plans back to you right now, Dee. I had looked at them over the last few days and just neglected to tell you or ask you to send them to the county.
Okay. Okay, good. I'll pass that along to Curtis and we'll CC you with the submittal.
And Dee, where do we stand with Tom Dotson?
He's working on it and working on the, we're doing this with an exemption. And that is replacing items that, in their place and, not improving, anything about it that is not increasing capacities, not doing anything like that. We're basically just replacing in kind with a new tank.
Right.
So there's an exception for that. And he's preparing the documents. In fact, he has. So,
I'm just worried about snow.
well,
So he could do this environmental.
yeah, no, he's,
Not this week.
on this one. Yeah, it'll be, well, you guys don't have any snow right now, right?
No, it seems like the weather's cooperating with us for the next week or so, next couple weeks, so.
Yeah, we're gonna be above average.
So I'm just being a little sarcastic.
T-shirt weather.
So
Okay.
here's a question, invoices are slowly starting to roll in for this project, ones that we'll be covering. Are we going to transfer from a particular account to the revenue operating to pay them?
Yes. Capital improvement, I would think.
Capital improvement, yeah.
Which doesn't have quite enough money in it, but.
Okay, so we'll start with,
Although, wait, aren't we,
I
also
thought-
B, we need to talk to what happened with us talking to the,
You're included in all the emails. They said basically that we're only required to have one annual payment in that account and that we could use it for.
oh, that's right. Yeah, so no, it's
No,
gonna come,
that's right, it's
gonna come out of the replacement fund.
replacement.
okay,
Yeah.
so we'll do transfers for each of those types.
Yes,
Yeah, out of replacement.
out of replacement until we don't have, but we have, a good amount of
Right.
You
replacement.
were following those emails too, right?
I
Yeah,
was, yeah, no, I just forgot.
too many things going.
So many things to keep my head around.
Juggle.
Okay. Yeah, all right, so if there's nothing else, we'll go on to, 15.
Okay, now this is where Dee can leave.
Yeah, thank you, Dean.
Thank you, Dee.
Okay, well, thank you and, have a good evening and a good weekend. And I'm sure we'll be talking here pretty quick.
All right,
Thank you.
sounds good.
Okay, good night.
15, discussion vote on the rate study. We've already,
Stuff went out.
the stuff went out, right?
Yeah, they were all
Mailed it all.
taken to the post office, all the letters are out by the deadline, which was tomorrow.
Right.
Right.
So then I can post stuff on our website and we just ride the wave until the public hearing.
Okay. I'm looking forward to Bridger Park Bulletin Board.
Stay off
It'll be
it.
fun.
Don't look at it, it won't bother you.
Okay, we can go on to 16. Discussion vote on employee handbook.
Okay. Other than the legalese that have to be changed, I would recommend that you just look at them. The pertinent parts that were of concern. And that's page 16, about me being away, an hour away and not reachable by phone after use PTO, and 18, which explains exactly what you guys approved. You spelled it out good, about vacation, notifying the board and all that stuff, so. Rather than trying to go over the whole handbook again for a few minor changes.
And can we get a recommendation, or did you already, the ad hoc already go through this?
They just got it, everyone just.
Oh, okay, so we're not, then we need to go through it, you guys need to go through it.
Yeah.
It's a recommendation.
I came in and it's sitting here and so.
Okay, And it still says revised 2023, so that.
Yes, that will have to change.
Yeah. So that's your homework too.
So I'm gonna cross that out so I don't mix it up with all the other ones, so.
Right.
Okay,
And so you're talking only pages.
16
and
and 18 is
19.
what you're gonna be the most concerned with, but of course you'll go through the whole thing.
And well, yeah, but everything is still the same that we approved before.
Exactly.
So really.
For that stuff, and then the only other thing she changed are things that were legalese, so we'll all read those and see what they look
do you know
like.
what those
Did
pages
she
were?
highlight, did she
So she did
highlight?
not send us a red,
Oh, how unhelpful.
yeah, an unhelpful.
She didn't give us a red line.
But a lot of it seems exactly like it was before. I mean, I
I gotta
sat here,
take
read
a
through
look at it, and we'll go back and forth.
across to 40 pages and I didn't see anything drastically different, so.
Okay, all right, do we wanna take a break? No?
No,
Okay,
we did.
new business, 17, discussion vote on using.
No, we did
Oh, we
that.
already did that. Sorry about that. 18, discussion vote on signage project lease agreement. That's up again?
Yeah, Tiffany knows it. Now they're asking for a 5-year. We said we would give them a year and then see how it's working. I advise you to approve the 5-year lease. They've really stepped up. They're the ones that initiated with the county supervisor and all them people for the downtown project. They've been staying good on what they're supposed to be doing. They're very vested in it now. So I would say just go ahead and approve their lease for another 5 years.
Okay, so I entertain a motion.
Were they ever willing to let us know what they're actually bringing in from those signs?
No, and it's not, as long as they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, I don't know that that's really.
Well, only because they're only paying us.
Well, and we have wear and tear on, we are loaning them equipment and stuff, but there is like some wear and tear and different things, so I'm just wondering.
Well, that's not really the chamber.
No, I know,
We're loaning it to the community.
right,
The chamber itself, as long as they keep up to their end of the lease,
right, but we're going out there and weed whacking still and doing stuff still.
we're only weed whacking around the sign, yeah. When we do our annual weed clearing, yeah.
Okay.
We're doing everything we're supposed to be doing.
Do we feel like that $100 is covering everything?
I feel like it is.
Okay.
That was the one that was most opposed to a long lease, but now I'm seeing that they're really invested in doing it, so.
I mean, we're not supposed to make money off of it, but I'm just
Yeah.
making sure that we're not losing
No.
money off of it.
I think we're good.
Okay,
So
since that's. the
I'll
town's
entertain a
money.
motion.
I guess you're gonna go through this and because some of these dates are wrong.
Yeah, this is last year's.
Oh, okay.
It's great for last
So
year.
you guys could approve it and Tiffany will just make the changes and then somebody can sign it, Lisa can sign it. All right?
Jerry.
Jerry, I mean, Jerry Garcia.
No, this is just the treasurer now.
I don't know if that's easier or not.
Huh?
I'll entertain a motion.
So you want it to go,
I will make a motion
Fine.
that we accept the lease agreement as it was the previous year
For 5,
for, the Mountain Communities Chamber of Commerce and FPPUD
for a period of 5 years.
for a period of 5 years.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Director Gibson has made the motion to accept the agreement and Director Kelly has seconded it. Roll call of directors. Director Schoenberg,
Aye,
Director Garcia is absent. Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
and Director Nyman's an aye. Okay, motion carries 4-0 with absent. Okay. On to 19, review and approve meeting minutes for 2/3/2026 quarterly financial standing committee, 2/10/26 AP standing committee, 2/12/26 regular meeting, and 2/24/26 AP standing committee, and 2/26/2026 regular state planning and project meeting minutes.
And you have everything except 226.
Okay, so
I had a question. I think it was on the regular meeting. I thought I left it, so sorry. Oh, yeah. Okay. I just have a question on, down towards the bottom of the page, the $5 million grant. It says, yesterday I received an email from Jonathan. Should it maybe say the board secretary received?
Are you on?
Yeah,
Tell me
what
what,
page?
Huh?
what page?
4.
or what,
Oh, because these are updates provided by Lake of the Woods. So it's Lake of the Woods speaking.
How
That's
about
why it
yes,
looks like
can
that.
you put yesterday parentheses Lake of the Woods? Or Lake of the Woods in parentheses received an email? Yeah, cause that's not gonna
I'll
be
just put
clear.
Lake of the Woods.
Yeah, that wouldn't be clear to somebody just reading this, so it was a good.
Well,
catch.
it says the following updates were given.
Oh.
But yeah, I can just change it to Lake of the Woods.
Sorry.
okay, I'll
That's a good catch.
entertain a motion to approve these meeting minutes and with the changes also.
I'll make a motion that we approve these, meeting minutes that Brahma has recited. And I use your paper.
Minus the one that we don't have, correct?
Minus 226, regular state planning.
Minus 226 regular meeting. Move that we approve the regular meeting minutes for Thursday. Is that right? For Thursday, February 12th? With any of the amendments that were sent to Tiffany previous to and after the meeting, as well as any additional amendments for typos or other errors that we may not have caught or that may need to be corrected.
Are you including the other ones? Cause you only said February 12th, aren't we
I
including?
said the ones that Brahma stated.
Stated, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do I hear a second?
Second it.
Okay, Director Gibson has made a motion and Director Kelly seconded it. Roll call of directors. Director Schoenberg. Director Gibson is absent. Director Garcia is absent. Director,
I think I'm more here than I've ever been.
Director Gibson,
I,
Director Kelly. Director Kelly
Aye. Well, I gotta fix it.
and Director Nyman is an aye. Motion carried 4-0, 1 absent. Okay, discussion vote on forming or dissolving an ad hoc committee.
Okay. I'll move that, we make a financial ad hoc to go over the, audits.
I think you should just call it an audit ad hoc, cause I
An
think
ad
it's
hoc
confusing.
audit. Audit ad hoc.
Audit. Yeah.
I second.
Well, who's gonna be on it?
Well, we gotta discuss it.
You two. Oh.
You're not on anyone, come on. Okay. Lisa wants to be on it,
No, it doesn't necessarily wanna be honest.
huh?
I mean, you guys have been doing the. Fine,
I don't want to be on it.
Wait a second. First of all, you just made a motion. Did I get a second?
No,
From Director
yeah.
Gibson? Okay, so there's a motion on the floor to establish a financial ad hoc about
audit.
audit ad hoc for direct, motion by Director Kelly, I'm losing it. And seconded by Director Gibson. Now discussion on who should be on it.
You're not willing to do it, Terry?
No, I can do it.
Okay, I guess I can do it. I mean, I was thinking it should be, but if Director Gibson doesn't wanna do it, I was thinking it should be either the I mean, I was thinking the standing committee because you guys see everything, but I guess if you
And
don't,
I would also like it to have a time frame.
well, it's just for the audit.
It's just for the,
Only for the audit.
yeah, and then we'll dissolve it.
Because the other ones, I'll take care of the
Okay,
other stuff. Yeah,
So I think you have so many things about it that would really be relevant. I think, I should step back and let you do it.
I mean, if Director Culling's willing to do it, I'll do it with her, but I think it's important that it be somebody, and since she's on both the ad hoc and the standing committee, I think she has the most relevant information on what's currently going on, so, yeah, but then
Okay,
I can
so-
bring up, that's fine.
So do you accept the friendly amendment that Director Kelly and?
Can she make the motion?
Well, there's not enough people. If Jerry's not here,
I think you should make the motion.
but can I make a motion as the president tonight?
Oh, no. Then Director Gibson should make the motion, and then I suppose one of us can second it.
Yeah.
But
and
we
you guys
really
will-
shouldn't make the motion because we're both gonna be on
Right,
that.
okay. So.
Scratch all of that.
Director Gibson, would you be willing?
Make a motion that,
Reform?
Lisa Schoenberg and Terry Kelling be the ad hoc for the audit committee.
For the current audit, yes.
For the current 2026 audit, or 2025 audit.
For the current 2026 audit.
2025.
It's
2025.
Yeah.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, it's, Director Gibson has made a motion and Director Kelly has seconded. Roll call of
And
directors.
since we can't both abstain, I guess we.
Yeah, one person has to say yes.
I guess
So-
since you seconded, why don't you say yes and I'll.
Okay, Director
I'll
Schoenberg.
abstain.
Okay, Director Garcia is absent. Director Gibson.
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
And Director Nyman's an aye, motion carried. That's 3-0, one absent, one abstention.
So as soon as we hear from Deborah, we can figure out when we can meet with her, if there's anything we even need to look at. I mean, if we don't need to, then I guess we can just go over the paperwork and make a
okay,
recommendation.
is there a discussion on future items? Do you have everything you need, Tiffany?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and if that's the case, then, I'll entertain a motion that we adjourn.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Do I hear a
Second
second?
it.
Okay, Director Kelly's made a motion and Director Gibson has seconded it. Roll call of director. Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Garcia is absent, Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
and Director Nyman's and I. We are adjourned. It's 4-0, absent and adjourned at 6:18 in the evening. Thank you, everybody. Thank you,
Good night,
Joan.
everyone.
Yes,
Good night.
Good night.
Been fun.